Hey everyone, this is Bearwire with HSMG.com, and I'm here today with a preview video discussing turn and river check raises. So what I want to address in the two hands that I'm going to go over is essentially how I'm going to identify what spots and what hands I prefer to check raise the turn versus check raising the river. There's going to be a lot of different permutations to this problem, but I'm going to try and encompass like at least the most or what I would consider the most important factors in making this decision. So this is actually a hand I just played earlier today, but I thought it illustrated the example really well, so I'm going to use it. We're playing against a reg at 3-6. We're reasonably deep, almost 200 big blinds at this table, and we've probably been playing for about an hour or so at this point. So I defend queen 4 to a slightly larger than min raise and flop trips. This is a spot where I'm never going to check raise on the flop. I think that having a flop check raising range here is not the greatest idea. Without wasting too much time on it, I essentially just think that my opponent's range is going to have too few strong hands when I have a queen and too many strong hands when I don't have a queen. So it's very difficult to sort of run an effective bluff, and it's also difficult to run an effective value line that starts with a check raise. So I think it makes the most sense to just have a check calling range here. So that's of course what I do here. He uses the small sizing in pretty much every like dry paired board type spot, so that's nothing too out of the ordinary. We get a very blank turn, which is really great considering what our hand is, but we want to think about the other hands that we could have here. Pretty much every open-ended straight draw, every gut shot, every flush draw, every ace high and a lot of king highs, every pair, and every queen. I would say that covers pretty much my entire check calling range. What that means here is that he's going to be incentivized to value bet pretty thin on the turn, maybe like for sure pocket sixes and better, maybe a 5 that he turned, definitely a jack, and of course every queen and better. But also that means he's going to be bluffing a significant amount of the time because of all the king high, ace high like weekends that I can have. So if I had like a weak draw here or even a decent draw here, I would definitely be looking to check raise as well, because I think it's advantageous to get him off all of his bluffs, and I think, you know, with all the weak value hands that he's going to be betting here, I think it makes sense to have like not a lot of bluffs, but basically I don't want to be check calling the turn with a weak draw here, knowing that he's going to have like 5x or pocket sixes and just check behind on the river. So really, like when I have trips here, I'm sort of balancing for the times that I want to bluff with my weak draws, but I'm also getting value from those jack X or 5x hands or those draws that he's going to have. So the alternative line here would be to check call and consider raising the river. And the reason in this spot that I don't like that is essentially because I don't think his river frequency is as high as it would be on other boards once he bets the turn, especially with his thin value hands. But also, there are going to be hands that I check raise the river with here. For example, if I had pocket fives, I would never raise the turn because it's so much easier for him to have a queen, and it's so much more likely that he's going to bet the river with a value hand, with a strong value hand, when I have pocket fives rather than having a queen. Essentially, I don't think I would ever raise a full house on the turn against, like, as far as if I was deciding what to do with my entire range. But I would raise trips because it's more vulnerable and because it makes it less likely that he has a strong value hand when I have a queen in my hand. So I do put in a raise, and he calls. River situation is sort of interesting. I could bet. My kicker doesn't play here, and I could bet for value, or I could check call to catch all of his missed draws. Between those two options, I think it really just depends on who you're playing. But considering that I have no kicker, so I'm going to lose against a significant part of his like bluff catching range, I think it makes more sense for me to check here and hopefully in some cases get him to check behind with a better queen and also bet with his misdraws. At least some percentage of the time, especially if he has like low hearts or 10-9 or something that might lose to my bluffs. So I think I'm going to withhold results on this one because I don't want to give away anything about this guy's game, but I do think I covered all the important information regarding why I chose to check raise the turn with this hand and not the river. And I'll wait until the next sample video to discuss a slightly different spot where I think that check raising the river is strongly preferable.